It's been 1,000 years since I have finished The Hero of Ages. And now finally, the review is here. Hello and welcome back to my channel. I'm JJ the Bearded Bookworm, and it has been quite some time since I have actually made a video. Today I'm going to be doing a review of The Hero of Ages, like I've been promising for over a month now. But here it finally is. This video is going to contain some minor spoilers for the previous two books. Kind of comes with the territory when you're reviewing a third and final book in a trilogy. So, fair warning throughout the rest of this video. This is going to be a very brief review. I'm not going to really go into details as far as character specifics. I'm planning on making a video the next week that goes over each of the main characters and their arc throughout the entire series, because especially those characters that have been with us from the beginning, from where they go from page 1 to the last page of the series, is just a roller coaster of plot and growth. So, real brief synopsis of the story, or where we're at in the story. The end of the Well of Ascension, Vin makes a very grave judgment call and misreads the entire situation and releases Ruin. Now, as we learn, Ruin is one of two forces that helped create the world. Ruin is the god that basically just thrives on destroying things. He cannot create life. He can only ruin things, thereby his name. So, Hero of Ages picks up with Elend and Vin going around to these different cities, kind of following this scavenger hunt type thing set up by the Lord Ruler himself. Each of these cities has like a safe house that has supplies. It has new metals in each one, and explains kind of what they're supposed to do, and gives a clue as to the next city that they're supposed to go. One thing to note, at the end of Well of Ascension, we saw Elend burning pewter, thereby saving his life, something that he wasn't able to do ever previously. Elend was not an allomancer until Vin gave him the little bead of metal, thereby making, through whatever means, Elend is now a allomancer. And the boy is powerful AF. Dude's like Shazam in the beginning when he's trying to figure out his powers and just can't control them. He's just kind of going nuts. And the story picks up a year after the last book ends, and kind of in the middle of their city scavenger hunt, so to speak. And their ultimate goal is, when I say scavenger hunt, they're literally scavenging, trying to find answers, trying to find the key to saving everyone, because they know Ruin has been released, and they realize that the Lord Ruler has been doing everything he can to kind of hold things down, and has to have, over the 1,000 years that he was alive and in rule, come up with a plan of how to stop Ruin. And then the story continues on from there. So one of the reasons why this review took so long for me to come up with is, one, I just haven't been making videos that much, but two, specifically trying to come up with pros and cons of this book and making them clear and concise and whatnot, just gathering my thoughts, because this book is heavy as far as information. This book, we go from knowing virtually nothing as far as real answers or true answers to everything getting laid out on the table and reaching its natural conclusion. But honestly, this could be 2 books very easily, and honestly that might have helped pacing and the flow a lot more. But I'm basically going to be going back and forth between a pro and a con that may not keep that pattern throughout this entire thing, but it's kind of generally how I wrote out what I was going to talk about. So, the first pro is the fact that the magic is extremely thought out. I've talked about that before in these other 2 videos, but the mistings and their powers and the extent of what they can do is kind of explored in this book, which was fantastic and previously unknown, not only to us the readers but to the characters. Unknown powers are shown, and it just adds to the mystery as far as what they mean, what they do. They're deceptive even because we don't know what they're supposed to be able to do. We also don't know what the potential of burning those metals can take somebody to. Like I said, the bead of metal that was given to Elend to turn him into an Allomancer made him super, super powerful. Like, he's stronger than Vin, even Kelsier. He's the strongest Allomancer there is. Like, this dude goes from 0 to hero just like that. And what's good about it is because instead of him just being a nobody and all of a sudden kind of getting Gary Stewed into being super powerful, he's super powerful but can't fully control his powers. He does not have the finesse, the skill involved. Dude was a bookworm. Like, in the last book, he learned sword fighting and has gotten better. But honestly, dude was a dweeb, and now all of a sudden he's supposed to be a superhero. So he's super powerful, but can't control, or he's unrefined. Whereas a lot of times he's working with Vin, and he's constantly comparing himself to Vin of, well, Vin can do this, Vin can do this. And she's looking at Elend like, man, if I was as powerful as Elend, I'd be able to do some of the things he could do. Because Vin is cunning, quick-witted, and has the finesse of a freaking NBA superstar. Just like, she can pinpoint all kinds of things. Whether she's still pushing or whatever, she can do what she needs to do because she has the skills that translated from being, a street urchin, and then just, adapting that to being a Allomancer. When Kelsier was teaching her how to be an Allomancer, teaching her steel pushing or just Allomancy in general, he said Allomancy is not about how strong you are or your skill in said thing. It's a matter of tricking. You're constantly trying to trick your opponent to make them slip up, to give you opportunities to defeat them, which is right up her alley because she is sneaky and amazing. So my first con is there were so many storylines in this book. Like, you almost could take one whole section of the book and separate it off as like a little novella and be completely fine. Like, I think there are all of the crew members that are left all have their own individual viewpoints and storylines, and it's a lot sometimes. One thing that was nice is Spook, who, as part of the storyline in this book, kind of is coming to terms of wanting to be more than just the kind of afterthought, the add-on to the crew. And he actually has a whole point of view throughout this whole story. Arguably the most heroic person in the book, but that's neither here nor there. I almost feel like this book was, those videos where the glass a vase drops, and in slow motion you see it shatter out, and then they quickly put it up into reverse. that part where it just like goes up into reverse. That's how I feel this book was, where it just, it's all over the place, all throughout, the whole world, all the different viewpoints. And then as the story went on, it just slowly started coming together and then just got sucked up back up and together. And it was all, brought together in the end in such a great way. One of the great things about this book is that Sanderson used as much time as he felt he needed to develop the characters, get to finish their storyline. This is where we need to get them. We're going to spend the time to get them there in this book, whatever that takes. Like I said earlier, Spook has one of the main viewpoints in this book, and his main antagonist is this character known as the Citizen. And Spook and the Citizen are really great foils to each other. I think that's a correct term. Where they're both idolizing Kelsier, or the Survivor, whatever. Spook is idolizing him as the hero. Not a deity, not, a religious figure, but knows Kelsier the hero, the one that caused everything, and is trying to become him, trying to do what he can with him. Whereas the Citizen is very like the spirit of the Survivor, like what the Survivor stood for is what he tries to embody. So these two different types, where it's like the very religious, the very like ideals, and the actual person. Like Spook knew him, whereas this guy didn't know him. And so seeing the difference between these two people that are actually very similar, but very, very different at the same time. And it's just a fun contrast to each other as they're playing this game of trying to get control over the city. Another con is, like I said, everything was really spread out, so it felt like filler sometimes. Near the end, it all comes together, so a lot of that is forgiven. However, I got bored in some parts of it, just because when I'm going through a reading, I'm like, I don't understand why I should care. I don't care about this character. I don't need to know about them. But like I said, when it all comes together and it's just this, avalanche of stuff, you realize that all those things were important, but just the pacing and what have you throughout the book, you're just like, okay, these are all very small things and I don't care. Like, why is this in here? But, like I said, he really is able to turn that around to where every single question that you have, not just in this book, but in the series, gets answered. Even ones that you did not know that you had questions about are presented and answered in this book. Everything is wrapped up so nice. Just put a bow on it, send it off. It's, magnificent. And I feel weird because I've said how good this book is and how all these things come together like 7 times or something like that already. But I can't stress that enough. Like, this is Sanderson's first actual ending to a series. Yes, he has got some like one-shot, Elantris, Warbreaker, but this is the first one of a series that he's written that has that conclusion as far as Cosmere books. And all this did was get me so excited to get to the end of Stormlight Archive, 20 years from now, because if this is how he ends a trilogy, that 10-part series is just going to be mind-blowingly amazing. I will say there's one part of this book where once it's finally said and laid out, and you go, holy crap. Like, it takes you all the way back to the beginning of the series, and you're just like, holy crap, like the plot twist of all plot twists. Like, everything you thought you knew and understood is just turned on its head. And then, we get to the end, all the craziness kind of dies down, and you get to the very end of it and you're just like, well, shoot, now I want like a novella of just, here's what happens afterwards, you know. I want like the Paul Harvey, like, the rest of the story, like, here's what happens after, you know, whatever. So yeah, brief summary, love the book, love the series. I am very conflicted now because I am such a Stormlight stan that now that I've finished the series and I've gotten it, I'm like, yeah, you probably should read Mistborn before you read Stormlight. It's that good. If you need that intro or whatever, you know, I get the hype. I'm on board. Comment down below, have you read this book? If so, what was your favorite part? Maybe not just of this, but of the series. If it is, keep your answers as spoiler free. You know what? Make them as vague as possible so that the people that do know, they'll know. But the people that haven't read it or whatever, if they happen across it, they're just like, I have no clue what this means or even what it's supposed to say. But that's all I have for today. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you haven't already. Once again, I'm JJ the Bearded Bookworm, and I'll see you next time.